Trump secretly sent COVID tests to Putin during 2020 shortage. New book says. As the coronavirus tore through the world in 2020, the United States and other countries confronted a shortage of tests designed to detect the illness. President Donald Trump secretly sent COVID tests to Russian President Vladimir Putin for his personal use. Putin, petrified of the virus, accepted the supplies but took pains to prevent political fallout, not for him, but for his American counterpart. He cautioned Trump not to reveal that he had dispatched the Scarce medical equipment to Moscow, according to a new book by Washington Post associate editor Bob Woodward. Putin, according to the book, told Trump, "I don't want you to tell anyone because people will get mad at you, not me." Now, why is this important? Because I've talked to healthcare workers and people. They were like, "Look, it was hard to get these tests.
Yeah,
it was really hard. Sometimes they had to sparingly use them. They didn't know. And for us, it was hard to get the test. Remember, he stopped the United States Post Office from sending us free tests.
Yep.
He stopped that.
Yeah,
but he sent them over to Russia. And this is a real story.
It's a true story. This guy, they're trying to say that there's a possibility. What do you say?
COVID was a hoax created by the Chinese government to population control. That's what they say.
And at the same time, they're pushing that this guy's book, there's no fact to it. There's no, but this guy's has written a lot of books like this about government officials. He's a pretty well-known journalist. And what to me, and they said that he's spoken to Putin 7 other times since he's been out of office. Since you're no longer president, he's been talking to Putin. People know that Russia is our enemy. Whoever doesn't think Russia's our enemy is a fool. 2008, he went and asked China to dump all their U.S. bonds back onto the market to basically send our economy into a free fall. Only reason they didn't because they needed us at that time. There was more of a need for us than there were for Russia. And so, if we don't look at him as an enemy, he sent in troops into Iraq, to fight against us. He's helped Syria to fight. It's a lot of stuff he's done. Don't get me wrong. We've done stuff to him too, but he's our enemy. That's just what it is. And so you're sending our enemy president, our test to him, and then saying, "Hey, he's telling you don't tell anybody about it."
Don't tell anybody.
It's crazy. You act like you guys aren't best buddies, and now he's saying stuff like, "Oh, we heard that Putin has endorsed Kamala Harris." No, man, this is all a game. We all act like we don't know who you and him are together when this whole thing, So
that's crazy. Whoever's voting for him they're voting for him. They're not going to stop it. I'm like, this is why your family and your friends look at you differently. Because you support a man like that.
Nobody ever supported.
People were dying.
Nobody ever supported Russia before. Everyone was in agreement. We had Rocky versus the Russian. Everybody knew.
People were dying.
Everyone knew what this was, man. And all of a sudden, this guy gets in office who, for some reason, you guys are all enamored by this dude because you weren't before. And all of a sudden you are once he starts saying the stuff he's saying and directing his anger and his vitriol at the correct group that you guys are happy to see it directed at. Now all of a sudden you guys are okay with Russians. I watched this lady say, the Chinese are horrible people and Russians are good. I'm like, why? Just said the Chinese eat dogs, what makes them bad, but Russians are good people. I'm like, at the end of the day, man, I don't know who eats dogs or who don't. People's cuisine is different around the world. We probably eat things that people don't eat in other places. But at the end of the day, we know that Russia has always been our enemy.
We eat processed food.
Yeah,
it's basically like Fisher Price with salt. We eat a lot of stuff, man. It's not even real. They just give it to us. We drink Coca-Cola with high fructose corn syrup. And you can clean stuff with that. You know what I'm saying? It's a cleaning agent. Exactly.
Remember,
did you pour it in your toilet? You didn't do it yet?
Not yet.
My dad used to take Coca-Cola. My battery used to be corroded. And he'd be like, "Oh, hey, just pour some Coca-Cola on it." Pour some Coca-Cola on it. It kills all the battery erosion. Then he poured it in a glass and drink it. I always tell people about soda. I'd be like, "Look, man, if you got to drink something, you could drink a whole glass of water, right, and be cool. With soda, you pour it in a glass, you start drinking it, you got to stop. Let the pain reside from your neck because it's burning your neck.
Burning your throat, man. It's crazy, man. I try not to even drink it. But at the end of the day, man, we all understand this has been an ongoing thing. So, just